Okay, we're live.
What's going on, everyone? It's Adam and Craig with Grandstand Golf. This is our round three DFS Showdown targets for the 2021 Masters. But first, let's chat a little bit about round two. Just like yesterday, if you're joining late, we'll throw a timestamp down there when we do start our picks. But Craig, I mean, it's a dramatic Masters already. I think this was moving day. If we look
Yeah,
ahead
yeah.
at the
First
weather
off,
for
first off, shout out to the chat. Nice to see everyone in there. Robert, Steve, Lyndon joining us again. Rat Tail. We got the whole crowd.
yeah, hit that thumbs up if you haven't already. Hit that thumbs up. That does mean a lot to us, and subscribe. But we assume you guys are subscribers.
Yep. Yeah. So
The
round
big,
two. Round two.
yeah, it was moving day. I mean, I think today, when you look back at the tournament, whenever it completes, this is the day you had to get your scoring in. And we saw Finau and Cam Smith, JT, like go out and kind of push low scores. It
Well,
still
Cam
ended up,
Smith tried to, and then he
he
forgot
fell
to
back.
finish it. Man, I was, yeah. I was very high on Cam Smith, and then he just kind of pulled out my heart a little bit there as the day went on. But
Yeah. So moving day, we'll talk about the leaderboard in a second. The other, I mean, one of the big, I think, things that happened down the stretch was Siwoo on 15, just a real like boom, slams his putter in the ground, like breaks it probably a
after a
couple inches
three
up.
putt, like it's not like it was a four putt or so I think the thing that made it a little bit more understandable to me, I mean, obviously I don't understand it at all. If you're in contention
Yeah.
I mean, I can't understand that. I'm not an angry golfer. Um, I like to think I'm not, but maybe there's times that would not be the case. But
You've
regardless,
matured with age. I think you've gone to those angry golfers meetings a little bit. You've matured.
yeah, I just popped the thumb.
Yeah, pop the
Uh,
thumb.
um, but no, the thing that like I really started to understand. Did you see Justin Ray put out a tweet with like ball striking strokes gain stats
Yeah.
that were inferred, I think, but he has like I think 10. He's gained
Oh,
10 strokes ball
ball striking.
striking.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So I think it's a little more understandable. I was like, oh, like it's a three putt, like get over it, like But I guess it's something that had been going on for quite some time, and it was
For a few
the
holes.
straw that broke the camel's back type thing.
For 30 some holes, it seems like.
Mhm.
I think the other thing too is like let's talk about before we get to the leaderboard. Let's talk about the Nolan missed cuts. So DJ, defending champion, a couple of bogeys coming in, missed the cut. Rory,
So DJ, I think is potentially the most egregious because he should have made it. Like when with three or
oh
four
yeah,
holes left, that he had no business missing the cut at that point.
no reason to. No, none at all, at all. Rory, complicated history at Augusta, and it just kind of adds another chapter to that book. But with all that said, his collapses, his near misses, his battle backs after a bad start last year. It's his first missed cut in 11 Masters.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, complicated history to Augusta, but usually he manages to still like he's 6 of 7 are top 10. Six of his last seven are top tens. He's a little bit lost right now.
Yeah, he is.
They kept saying I think it was Dottie. I don't know if that's right, but she was saying he was
Yeah,
missing
Dottie
both
Pepper.
ways all day. So I think that I really hope that this process that he started with Pete Cowan works
Yeah,
and like gets him to where he wants to be to feel good in majors. And if it's I don't care if it's messy along the way, as long as the place we arrive at is the place he wants to be.
for sure. Yeah, Dottie Pepper on 18 with that group said, I've been walking with a straight line with Xander all day, and Rory's getting my step counter higher than it's ever been before. I thought that was a great line.
Yeah.
Quickly here, Lee Westwood, I mean, missed the cut, playing great this season, especially in the US, but missed the cut at the Masters was 2006. He hasn't played all of them, but he's played most of them since that time. But that's
Yeah.
hard to see. Like, he doesn't have many chances to really take a run at this thing.
Yeah, I think fiance will make the bag next time.
Yeah, no
Son's
kidding.
getting cut.
What are you doing? Like, you got to stick with what work.
Yeah,
Sergio
yeah.
Garcia, since his 2017 win, 3 missed cuts and a withdraw. I mean, that's
Hmm.
that's brutal.
That's what he's another guy. Lyndon's giving me shout out here for the DJ fade, but Sergio's another guy that I faded coming in, and I'm feeling pretty happy about that one because he was an easy guy to like, I think, coming into the week.
Yeah.
What I'm not feeling happy about is the next guy on the list here because I was high on him, but it sounds like everywhere you talk, people were high on Patrick Cantlay coming in, and yeah, so you have second miscut at a major here, but to me, this
Yeah.
is potentially the most egregious one because he was
You just
playing
said that for
potentially the best
DJ.
golf of his. No, of his miscut. So
Oh,
like,
okay.
I don't know when his other miscut at a major was, but he was playing, as good a golf I think as we've seen Patrick Cantlay play. Like we're starting to see him kind of take that step
Yeah.
into where we think he can belong in the golf world, and he took a little bit of a step back there, but hopefully he finds it for what PGA Championship in a couple weeks here.
Yeah, I think
Yeah, Berger killed all of us, Rat Tail. Just ask Adam. Adam's, I think, most promising Millie Maker lineup is now a 5 of 6 due to one Daniel Berger.
yeah,
But
I threw it in our
it was
Discord.
also just like to make the birdie on 16 to like get himself back in the cut line and then to give it back on
The crazy thing
17
is they weren't showing him. So he birdied 13.
when there's only like there's
I know
no
there's
other
no
groups
out there.
left.
He had a 5-foot putt on 14. He missed that, so he parred. So I'm like, okay, he can get one at 15. And he had the layup, understandable, had a 20, 30-foot putt he missed. Okay, that's fine. 16, 17, 18, we can find one birdie here. We got it on 16. Like, that's great. He's like an 18-footer for birdie. We just need to coast in at even par. That's all we need to do. You're a top 15 player in the world. And his approach on 17 just left it 30 yards short. You have to go right over a bunker. There's no way to get it close to the hole. And then ultimately couldn't get a birdie on 18. But I'm gonna people hate to hear other people's fantasy teams. I'm gonna take 10 seconds here and tell you who's on this lineup that I had Berger miss on. It was Justin Rose, Jordan Spieth, Justin Thomas, Ryan Palmer, Joaquin Niemann, and Berger.
I mean, there's no Zalatoris, but it's still
There's no
pretty good.
Zalatoris. Yeah.
Yeah, so I was thinking about Berger a little bit, and Bryson gets a lot of skepticism about Augusta National because he's so robotic and technical, and I think if that is a narrative that has legs, that you need to be more of an artistic golfer, a feel golfer to succeed here. Daniel Berger is one of those guys that we need to keep an eye on because I think he's a very technical golfer and a very, gets everything lined up, gets everything, all these side hill lies, all of these type of things.
Yeah.
That said, I don't necessarily buy into that narrative with Bryson, so I don't know if I'm buying into that. But if there is legs to that narrative, then that's something we probably need to look at Berger for as well.
No, I think that's fair. His history has been decent though. Like top 20s. Mm-hmm. It's been okay. It's been pretty good.
Okay, so enough about people that sucked.
Yeah.
Let's talk about people that were good.
Hey, Justin Rose. Everyone was saying that he was collapsing through the first few holes, through the first 9 holes. Got, I think, 3 back on the back 9 to stay at even par for the day. He's still 7 under, but the field was presented an opportunity to move up, and we got Will Zalatoris, Craig. Tonight I'm drinking a nice blonde ale. I feel like it's tall and skinny, much like Zalatoris is blonde. I feel like that's my tribute to Zalatoris.
I like it.
Great sleeper, Craig. Talk about your boy Zalatoris here.
Well, I feel like this is starting to. So what I am looking for, I'm not going to boost him up too much after round 2 because, to be honest, I think he still has a very, very legitimate shot of winning this tournament. So it's not. You think if you don't really know anything about him, you're like, oh, okay, like Korn Ferry Tour guy has, played his way into a card and, oh, this is so great for him. He's going to fade on the weekend. He's not that type of guy. Like, this is more like a guy taking the next natural step in his career to come onto the PGA Tour to get into majors but belongs, I think he's a top 20 golfer. So yeah. I think he's the type of person that is going to have a shot at majors in his career. So through 2 rounds to be one off the lead at a course that I think sets up very well for his game, I like it.
So here's the thing. He was 4 under today, right? He had 0 birdies on the par 5s.
Yeah, well, and that's... So that tweet that Justin Ray put out that were ball strikers, it was like Siwoo Kim, Zalatoris, Answer, Xander. I'm like, these are all the guys that I feel really good about right now. But yeah, we'll see. You still got to putt at Augusta. So The one other one I feel like I just missed this, but Brian Harmon, like this is a guy I love, but I just was not on this week.
And you were talking about lefties all the time too.
But I feel like even though I have no stake in him, I'm very happy to see him up there.
Yeah. Yeah, I kind of agree with that. Mark Leishman's there again. He hung around. That was an interesting bounce back from kind of how he got his scoring in round one. But I mean,
I had pretty good exposure to him today, so I was enjoying that one.
you were feeling good about that one. Jordan Spieth is going to be the talk of the town, so we probably won't spend a lot of time on him. But it's Augusta and it's Jordan Spieth, and he's playing well. I mean, watch out, everyone else.
I think he's got the shortest odds now, but with Spieth, that's always a little bit skewed because there's so much money that goes in on him that the odds shorten. But
and then Wiesberger, after putting it off the green day one, comes back, and I think it was 500 today or something.
Someone tweeted this. I don't know who it was, but the golf gods owed him one.
Yeah, they did for sure. And then here, I mean, this clump at 4 under is super interesting to me.
Yeah, Big R is giving a shout out. He thinks Finau, or no, he's saying that a Finau green jacket would be awesome, and I totally agree. What caused me a little bit of consternation was that putt on 18 that just looked like that looks like the type of putt that I have to push my 18-hole match for $5 instead of like. What? It just looks so tentative and ugly.
When I was watching yesterday on one of the par fives, like I think 13, a little curler, and he just like it's just like he just blew on it. He's just like, and the ball just like trickled, like it didn't even have a hope to get there.
Yeah.
I mean, we talked about his driving accuracy and his putting coming in. They were both awful at Texas. I think his driving accuracy is an easier thing we said a range session could fix that. Mm-hmm. Putting. Oof.
Well, and sometimes I feel like it's just mental. Like I think he's got a fine stroke. It's just like, man, like it doesn't matter if you miss. Like you got to try to make it, like.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the Stuart Sink, who's very near the bottom of this top 20 here. Did you see that putt that he had where when he was pulling his putter back, he like pulled it back like 3 or 4 times. It was the most uncomfortable looking thing that I saw today, I think.
Oh, I missed that one.
But yeah, I mean, JT, talk about JT, because I think he is very much in play here for his first green jacket.
Well, he's the first pick of mine.
Maybe. First of many, I don't know.
First of many. He was my pick for Showdown. You thought I was crazy to spend up on him. He checked every single box that I had. And he came out and was just on fire. And I think we need to understand Augusta is the approach game. That's why we look at Zalatoris. That's why we look at Morikawa, JT, Answer. Like that's why all these guys are up here.
But the thing, I mean, with a lot of these top players, they can check all the boxes, but then their game doesn't show up that week. JT looked dangerous today. Like the way he was hitting into holes, I don't even know if he maximized what he could have gotten out of his round. Like he just looked extremely in control of what he was doing.
Yeah, and his new little drive. I mean,
his little stinger draw,
stinger slider. Especially when the wind picks up, that'll be interesting. That'll be interesting
for
tomorrow.
Sure, it will be.
I mean, on 13, it makes a lot of sense, but then when you have a hole like 17 or one of these tighter tree-lined holes, like, can you start it out
wide enough? There's a lot of holes that it makes sense on, like 10. Is he only hitting it with the 3-wood? I'm assuming.
I think so. Yeah. I don't think you can turn the driver like that.
So like a hole like, well, he can do
it at 15 on Sawgrass. Anyways. We'll see tomorrow.
So I was thinking 10. That's a great shot for 10. For sure. But 2, I don't think like you want to get a driver out there on 2. So not as important. But anyways, that's into the weeds a bit.
I mean,
Xander.
I think it's wide open, and I think, but unless you want to talk about anyone else here, I think we should flip to the next slide and show why we think it's wide open.
I mean, there's 3 people I think we need to mention: Xander, Morikawa, and Bryson, because I think tomorrow will be very interesting. So ultimately, tomorrow's going to set up what Sunday does. And those 3, to me, are the big names on the second half of this leaderboard. And any one of those puts themselves in position, I think they'll be extremely dangerous. And so tomorrow will be the what's the TSN turning point, or maybe I shouldn't give TSN
No free plugs.
no free plugs, the turning point we'll call it. But yeah, like, Bryson 67 today, he does that again. Well, he does that again tomorrow. I think that's going to be unlikely with the weather, so maybe that's a good point to have a little jump over here.
Yeah, I think Steven Davidson is right. I think he's doing that with his driver as well, the little screaming little hook shot. I was just going to say, with that leaderboard, I think, so we're looking at the wind here tomorrow. The wind is outrageous. I think you could honestly cut those names, put them in a hat, toss them up, and the leaderboard could look completely different for our round 4 show. Like, it could be Bryson at the top. It could be Casey sneaks in there. Rose is at 3 under. Like, it's going to be a hot mess, I think.
So I think if you are so the tee times go from 9:40 local. So if you look at the weather here at the bottom, they start at 9:40 a.m. local. So say, maybe 2 hours, 2.5 hours before the wind really starts to pick up. Like, it'd be some gusting. But the leaders don't tee off till 2:20. So they're going to be in the thick of that basically throughout the day. It might start to calm down for them as the day goes on. But that's going to be you tweeted this earlier, but it's going to be a leaderboard condensing if the forecast proves to be right.
Absolutely, it's going to be condensing. This is so you can check it out on Twitter, on our Twitter account. This is Augusta Daniel Field on windfinder.com. The other thing I was noticing, Craig, as I was kind of refreshing this throughout the day, is the wind was like, the forecast was getting heavier and heavier and stronger winds.
Mm-hmm. Well, like, this is a very, very, I think this is almost perfect in terms of you're letting the guys who just made the cut out there a little bit with nicer conditions in the morning, and then it's going to hammer these leaders. But, so say the guys at 7, 6, 5, I think if they shoot even par tomorrow, that's perfect to set you up for Sunday. I think it's going to be, if you are where Bryson or Colin Morikawa are, then you need to think about still, even though you're not going to be playing in great conditions, you need to think about finding some strokes. But I think if you're Justin Rose, another 72 looks pretty darn good.
Yeah, 100% agree. We got some, talking about the wind, if Fitz made the cut, yes, he did. He's a great wind player. We saw that at Riviera. I would say anyone that you're considering playing, do a quick research, like how have they played in Hawaii or Corales Punta Cana or in the UK. Mm-hmm. Like, we have data from these guys to know how they play. Just Google their name and wind, and there's usually, they got destroyed in the wind or they excelled and pulled away in the wind. There's enough history with all these guys to see, and that can change. That is a small sample size. If someone has a great round in the wind, they could get completely toast the next day or next time it's picked up.
Totally agree. It's one of these things. It's just it's sort of like a chaos agent that gets thrown into it. And I think one of the things that it won't just be hitting into greens, and it's going to be putting. Putting will be the thing that I think is affected most by the wind tomorrow. So I am looking a little bit at the people who are grinders, and he's not a pick of mine, but like the Cam Smith types, the Matt Fitzpatrick types, like those people who are going to go out there and just grind, the Ian Poulter types. Yeah. Those are the type of people that I am looking at tomorrow.
So before we get that round average, I think I froze for a second there. These 2 strokes better. You can see round 1, round 2, it was 0.25 over. Our 6 picks, add them up, divide them by 6, minus 1.34. That's throwing Kokrak on our back and my squad carrying Craig's squad. Hovland did it down the stretch, though. I think he went eagle, birdie, or...
I never said it would be pretty. There's going to be a lot of shapes on that scorecard.
And early on, I was like, I knew Hovland was not going to be able to sustain it, but he came through, baby. He came through. So we had 4 birdie streaks on the day.
Yeah, he had the last minute streak too.
He did coming in. Showdowns were great for me. They did pretty well for you today, Craig?
No, it was a net negative, but I invested very.
You didn't play Palmer as much as you should have.
I played a little bit of Palmer. I invested heavily in the Rahm, Xander, Rory group, and so it like some of them were okay, like the ones that had Xander and Rom, and then like I had really good. I had Connors, I had who was it, Leishman, I had Zalatoris, I had a lot of really good low priced guys, but my higher priced guys did not perform for me. And then Jordan Spieth, who I don't think I had any of. He was over 35%. So it just meant that basically I had an uphill battle because I missed on all my guys up top.
Yeah. The one thing, Craig, I want to talk about before we get into picks is AM stack being too popular. So everyone's going to look at this. Every person that does some kind
Everyone's going to look at our video.
Anyone that does kind of golf DFS is going to talk weather. And then I think people are going to look at tee times and they're going to see, Paul Casey. They're going to see, or maybe they'll go down DraftKings and see who is kind of low. They'll see Webb Simpson is starting late. They'll see Patrick Reed is starting late, and they'll just kind of plug those guys in. And I think they're going to get inflated ownership because of that. So in your strategies when you're building lineups tomorrow, are you going to do an all early stack and then kind of sprinkle out, or what are you thinking?
So I'm different than you because I'll still build 20 showdowns. So I will have a couple where I go very heavily with early stacks. And like by early, I mean, including guys that are still even -1, for, maybe half the field, something like that. But I will also have ownership of other guys. It's just so essentially those early ones, if it does turn into the wind is just brutal and everyone in the later half of the field gets wiped off the map, then I want to have a few of those stacks that are very much early plays. But I'm definitely looking at it. I also think this is something I've said before. I kind of like that as like the people you are looking for that aren't going to be the very popular plays. Like, well, I don't want to spoil who my picks are, but like some of my picks are people who are popular coming into the week and they're AM guys. But like maybe look at the people who were not popular coming into the week, but they have the really good tee times. Because so they're still going to be somewhat lower owned.
Yeah.
Where like the guys who are popular coming in and they have the really nice tee times, those are going to be the guys who I think really their ownership gets inflated.
Yeah. I think it's something to be aware of, but it's not something to use for all your lineups. In round one, the harder way by far was a late one, and that's when Justin Rose went and won 7 under, and he beat the field by, if you're looking at just the late way, if you beat the field by over 10 strokes. So good rounds happen at any point in the math checks out.
No, yeah, I was thinking it was 9.5, but you did say just the late way.
Just the late way.
It checks out.
No matter what part of the golf course, people can still, find their way, get chip ins. They can get on some kind of.
I've got a calculator handy so that if we do have to do math,
you need a much bigger one, big numbers for old people.
But like, what if we need to do some trigonometry?
Oh God, this is getting derailed. Should we get into picks?
Yeah, let's jump into picks.
Yeah. Dottie Pepper, we talked about it off the top. She mentioned him. She's walking with a straight line with Xander Schauffele all day. I'm going Xander Schauffele, 9,800. He was a guy I played today. We didn't talk about it yesterday, but a guy I played. Worked out well. 72-69 through the first 2 rounds. Craig, he's 3 under, 8 birdies, 5 bogeys. This is something, again, I talked about it all for our last video. Round or par 5 scoring. That is how you get your scoring at Augusta National. You have to play the par 5s well. I mean, yeah, Will Zalatoris can go 4 under with 0 birdies, but that's not sustainable. The best way to get your birdies is par 5 scoring. And Xander today, even round at 3 under, he only was 1 under on the par 5s. So looking about what he's done, he's improved in fairways 71-78. So we added another column here. The field is in the far right one in the lighter gray. Greens in regulation, he improved 77-83% compared to the field at 60%. That is what we've been talking about. The strokes gained approach, the greens in regulation, those are the players that win at Augusta. I think Xander kind of makes his move tomorrow. His putting, it's not great. 1.83. He improved a little bit to 1.72. This is putts per green in regulation. He ranks 10th in strokes gained putting on the year. So he is a good putter. He's a great putter. He's a world-class putter. So he's well above the average right now. I am leaning for guys tomorrow. I'm leaning on good putters. And then if they're good scrambling, that's just kind of a bonus. I want good putters, though, because I feel like you can make up some shots. those 12-foot birdie or par putts you need to save in the wind. The other thing, he's 5th in par 5 scoring as well. So I feel like he can improve upon that as well. I think he's been really steady. Steady will get it done tomorrow.
Yeah, I love it. I absolutely love it. I played him today. He was the only one from that group that actually provided decent returns. Yeah, I don't think I have anything to add. I liked Xander tournament long. I liked him for Friday. I like him for Saturday. I'm probably going to like him for Sunday too.
You like it. You
Of
love
the
it. You want some more of it.
exactly. Of the people who we sort of spoke about of the leaderboard that have a chance to win, and this is where maybe my blinders are on a bit. Xander is maybe the guy I would want the most. JT's got a major. Spieth has got so many things. Xander, he needs that statement win, and so
I think Siwoo's military and Hideki's
but
weight of Japan.
Yeah, that's true. But I don't know if Siwoo, does the major get him military exemption or just a gold medal?
I don't know. There's talk on Twitter about it, and I still don't know. I still don't know what
I would like that because I don't want to lose Siwoo Kim for 2 years. Same with Sungjae. Yeah. Anyways, next up for picks, I am going. Oh, am I going with anyone? Yes, I am. I'm going with Paul Casey, 8,400. I'm spending down. I've got 3 lower price guys for you today. Paul Casey, 8,400. Guess what group he's in tomorrow?
The first group.
The first group. Guess who he's playing with?
Ian Poulter.
Ian Poulter. What a nice, comfy group that's going to be.
That is a nice, comfy group.
It's a very, very easy pairing, I think, for him. So he's gone 73, 74, plus 3 on the tournament. An eagle, 5 birdies. That's not bad. 10 bogeys. That is bad. So what we have seen from Paul Casey thus far in the tournament, I think, has been pretty disappointing. So to me, this is a bit of a narrative that he is going out there in the best conditions of anyone tomorrow, if the forecast holds up. He has underperformed through 2 rounds, but his form coming in was awesome. So we look at the last 3 months. He was number 1 in, this is coming into the tournament. Yeah. He was number 1 in strokes gained tee to green coming in at over 2 strokes. He was number 2 in strokes gained total behind Patrick Cantlay at 2.44. And then we combine that. So, sometimes it's like, okay, this guy's been playing really good, but they really don't do well at this setting, at Augusta National, in this environment. He does do well here. So there's no reason to think that his first 2 rounds should be as bad as they have been. So you look at his ball striking stats, he hasn't hit fairways, he hasn't hit, he's above average in greens, but he's still, I feel like there is still room for improvement there. He's putted poorly both days. I just think there's tons, the scores that we could get from Paul Casey are better than what we saw in the first 2 days, and he has ideal. The biggest thing probably I worry about is ownership, and this is what you were talking about, because the narrative might be that the wind is going to be affecting the leaders. Paul Casey is a clear choice early on, but I'm going to be plugging him in because I think that clear choice sometimes is a smart play.
Yeah, the other thing I think too, when the wind gets up like this, the guys that have been around Augusta a few, like more than a handful of times, probably do have an advantage. I've seen this swirling winds. Look at round 1, 2017, or, you go back through Augusta history when it's been really tough and see how they've played, or just knowing that they've had those conditions before, I think is a big advantage. And their caddies have been there and they know kind of, okay, check the pine needles. Where are they going? They have that experience.
Yeah, their caddies aren't up tonight watching YouTube old masters to try to see how things played in the wind.
So the one thing I got to say about Casey is he is my best 6 of 6, so I'll probably not play him. Have exposure there.
So that's just a personal hedge.
That's a personal hedge, exactly.
Gotcha.
Because if he does well, I'm still happy.
You're happy, yeah.
I'm still happy. My second pick here, I'm going Adam Scott, 7,600 plus 3 as well. He went 74, 73, 4 birdies, 7 bogeys. So he is one of the first tee times as well. I think right after Casey or soon after Casey.
Second or third, I think, yeah.
Yeah. I feel like he can play Augusta well. I feel like, first off, his par 5 scoring. He's -1 round 1, -2 or -1 as well in round 2.
-2 total.
-2 total. He almost had that ace on 12, and then he
got
charged.
absolutely hosed on
He got
13.
hosed on 13 on his approach shot, hit the pin. Like it was going perfect, like bounce, bounce, and suck back. Hit the pin, almost went in Race Creek.
Yeah.
But he saved par with a really good fourth putt there. Um, I feel like, yeah, he just going to improve. He was also, another thing of note, he was with the Bryson show for 2 days. He's out of the Bryson show now for a little bit. I think that's maybe talking about comfortable groups. I don't think that's ever a comfortable group for anyone. I don't know if it really affects anyone, but maybe it's a nice break. It's like a little bit, you're walking a little bit lighter.
Yeah. It's not like the super intense person that you're just like, man, just like chill out and let's just like shoot as well as we can for 2 days and then move on.
Yeah. Fairways has been pretty good. His greens and regulation improved today. I like to see that. His putting hasn't been great. He ranks 59th in strokes gained putting on the year. He is a positive putter. He's not great on scrambling. Actually, he's one of the worst on the year, but I feel like his experience around here and his early tee time, it's a guy I'm targeting.
Yep, I like it. I think, at 7,600, I think he would probably, if there was no weather advantage, I think he would potentially be a good play. So with a weather advantage, I think he's a really good play to consider.
Yeah.
My next one here, I am going with Christian Bezuidenhout. 7,900. He's a little bit expensive potentially for what you may think of him.
Sorry, can I pause there? There was one question: is everyone teeing off of one? Yes, they are, and they're in groups of two. And just because of that, saying he's expensive, all the pricing was out early, so his pricing was kind of based on round one, I think. So
yeah, and he went out there and shot a 76 today. So
yeah.
so Bezzy, Myron Kid does not like it, I don't think. But so
he
he's plus
it.
2. He's gone 70, 76, 5 birdies, 5 bogeys, double. He is a 10-20 tee time. So what is that? That's, I want to say, 4th or 5th group. So I did a little research, and what I came up with, he is a good win player. So if you don't know Christian Bezuidenhout, I like to say it a different way every time.
Yeah,
I don't actually know.
I know.
I'll try to
Bezuidenhout.
pick up Trevor Immelman or Mark Immelman or one of the South Africans saying it, and then actually learn how to say it. So you go back to these 2 tournaments he won in Africa back to back in South Africa. He one of them, it was windy the whole time. Every single day he gained strokes on the field. And yes, he should gain strokes probably on that field because he was one of, if not the best person playing there. But it was just methodical how he like every day he played, it was like plus 2 strokes gained. I think he's a very good win player. I think he has a very good short game. I think he's a grinder. You look at what he's done so far this week. He had really good ball striking numbers round 1, 92% fairway, 61% greens. That fell in round 2. So, this 76 number, I think everyone is going to be struggling a bit tomorrow. So if he has good weather compared to other people, and if it does, like he will have, even if it is a severe weather curve, he's going to face that at the tail end of his round. So if he can use his elite short game, elite putting at that point, I just really like his chances of sneaking in there at maybe he's 2 or 3 under at that point and he can par into the house. I also think his ownership is not going to be as high as some of these other people like a Paul Casey or even another guy I had in here that I don't have as a pick is Ian Poulter. I think Ian Poulter is going to be out in the first group. He is much more of a name. So, and he's a lot cheaper. So his ownership, I think, will be higher. But a Bez, I don't think his ownership is going to get crazy. So I'm going to roll the dice. I'm going to take a chance with him and hope that he happens to be one of these people that goes out early and puts up a round.
Yeah, no, I love him. We were talking before the show. I'm like, I want Bez. Like, we both really like Bez. Like, who's going to kind of put him in there in the show and talk about him? I'm absolutely playing Bez tomorrow. I think all those things he said. So his high sevens price will put people elsewhere. They're going to go more recognizable names in the high sevens, and there's a lot of them there. He's excellent around the greens. He putts. He's an amazing putter. He's really good in the wind. I love everything about it. Like I'm a big Bez fan tomorrow, and yeah, he's streaky, but I mean, we're talking GPPs. I'm trying to take down a 10,000 plus entry contest.
And we're
here.
talking showdowns. Like I don't have any of him tournament long. Although he would have been better than like playing Patrick Cantlay, but
Yeah.
but I'm okay with a streaky guy as long as I'll take the chance on the good side of the streak.
Yeah, exactly. My last one here, I'm going Matt Jones. A little bit off the board. I feel like 7,000 on DraftKings. He went 74-69. Turn it around today. He's 1 under, 1 eagle, 5 birdies, 6 bogeys. His par 5 scoring. He's even in round 1. And on round 2, he's -2. He had 1 eagle on hole 2, actually. So he's -2 on hole 2. What has he done? He improved basically everywhere except for putting. So his ball striking got better. Fairway 71%, greens and regulation 88%. I love to see that. His putting fell off a little bit to 1.72. Again, another guy I think is a strong wind player. I think he plays well in tough conditions. Looking at the PGA Tour season in its whole, he ranks 26 in strokes gained putting. So he's a very, very, very good putter. And he also ranks 14th in scrambling. So 2 statistics I'm leaning on very heavily for tomorrow. He's kind of in that sneaky, like, middle of the pack. He doesn't have a super early tee time. He doesn't have a great score, so he's not going to attract any ownership, I don't think. He's kind of my differentiator tomorrow.
Yeah, and I think on top of, like he's just been playing well coming in. His form is good coming in. So to me, it's a little bit just a value play on top of that. I don't know how much. So he's sort of in that awkward. He's not super early, but he is not late, So I don't quite know how I'm going to structure this yet, but he is definitely someone I'm going to be looking at as value at 7,000.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
Yeah. Okay, my last one here. I'm going with a much chalkier play, I think. Joaquin Niemann. Adam brought him up yesterday, but this price is too good to pass up. So we got him at 7,400. He is a 10:30 a.m. tee time, so he's still within the first hour of people going out on course. He's gone 75, 71. He's +2. He is -1 today. 8 birdies, 7 bogeys, 1 triple. We spoke about that triple. That was on 10. 10 on the first day. So I think we saw signs of life improving in terms of his ball striking from day 1 to day 2, but he didn't putt as well based on the putting stats we have. So to me, I think there is, we've seen him still not putt well on the first day, but then we saw his ball striking improve and his putting was worse. So potentially, I think we start to see him putting it all together. We combine that with a good tee time, and here's the kicker for me. His price is
it's crazy.
28th in the field.
Yeah.
And these are his strokes gained totals from Data Golf, and this is not including people that made the cut. This is including everyone in the field. Yeah. So over the last 3 months, he's 9th. He's gained almost 2 strokes. Same thing with 6 months. He's gained almost 2 strokes. He's 11th in strokes gained total. So 1 year, he falls a bit, but we spoke about this. He's young, still top 20. He's 28th in pricing. Like, I can't get over that. This is just such a screaming deal to me that I'm going to play it. I'm going to hammer it. It doesn't really make much sense to me. I think he has so much potential upside. He's going out in good conditions. The biggest problem is that he's going to be chalky, but I'll take the chalk. I'll play him, and I'll try to probably end up overweight or at weight, because I want to make sure that if he does play well tomorrow at 7,400, I'm not going to get hosed on that,
Yeah. You know who else has been chalky is Jordan Spieth, and Justin Thomas. A little bit of Brian Harman, some Zalatoris. Some chalk isn't bad. I mean, it's just.
I got killed by chalky Jordan Spieth today because I was on the wrong side of the chalk and he played well.
Yeah, it's just kind of finding your angle, finding your Matt Jones, finding your Christian Bezuidenhout. Who is your? And I think it's Christian Bezuidenhout, but
Christian.
I don't know. Christian.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Kind of like Chrétien, but that's a different person altogether.
Christian.
Thank you, everybody, for watching. Hit that thumbs up. That's really, it's nothing for you. It's a big deal for us. So just move your mouse over, hit that thumbs up. Any questions you guys have, let us know. But it's going to be great viewing as a golf fan. It's going to be
I'm
low
very
showdown
excited
scores,
as
I think.
a fan.
Yeah.
So question from William Neal: do you guys play any weekend tournaments? Any different strategy if you do? I don't. I don't think you do. From
No,
what I
I don't.
remember, they don't use finishing position anymore,
No, they don't.
which I probably would be more likely to play them if they did, because I think that adds. I mean, to me, it's essentially just a
An
two-day
element.
showdown otherwise. But with the
Yeah.
finishing position, then you really have to start to try to project where's this person at?
Yeah.
What do I think that might mean? What do I think that might mean for their ownership and all of that? But I mean, obviously, I would take weather from today less into
Right.
consideration if I was doing weekend. But then, other than that, no. I mean, my strategy would be pretty similar to what I do normally. I would try to figure out who I think there's
I mean, I
value
probably
on, but just based on their ability and the price, and then also who I think is going to attract ownership.
I would look a little bit more volatile players, some Hovlands, some Brysons, guys that can get those birdies even though they get some bogeys.
Yeah, and people that have a habit of backdooring. So, like oftentimes I find Showdown taking very, very, high pedigree players who do not have good scores in that tournament, but you know that they're going to
Yeah.
backdoor, or like you think they have a high probability of playing
Yeah.
well on the weekend. Those are the type of guys that I think would be low ownership leverage plays.
Yeah, for sure. We got a question here from MD is asking Hatton, Scheffler, or Will Z. I think that's for round 3. Craig, do you have a favorite of that group? Are you thinking? Like, do you want me to go or what?
I was thinking I was also burping a little bit, but so go
Okay.
ahead.
I think of those. Um, it's interesting because I have a win bias in my head a little bit. I have a bias towards like coastal Californians. I have a bias toward Texans. I have a bias towards maybe some Australians, some UK players. But of those three, because they all fit. Will Z and Scheffler got that Texas roots. I'm going Hatton. I think Hatton. I think I made a mistake of fading Hatton. I think he's kind of a sneaky, grinded out type guy. Even like I think his emotional response. We've talked about this before. Is a good coping mechanism for him to actually stay present during the round. So I like Hatton. I think he can absolutely go through this. I think Will Z will be popular, and because of that, I like Hatton over Scheffler.
Speaking of which, this is a tangent, but when did you see Rom when it looked like he was gonna break a club over his leg?
No, what hole is that?
So 16, he hit his approach, or like he hit his tee shot, and he went to break it, but then he didn't. And I think I
Did he
think
like give a thumbs
he
up
gave
or
a
something?
thumbs up afterwards, and I was like,
Yeah.
that is totally like angry golfer's shout out. That has to be. It
Well,
was like I'm
sometimes like
so angry, and then he gave the thumbs up. I thought for sure it had to be an angry golfer shout out. And then I was
I,
thinking, in angry golfers when they're like talking about like the empty chair and someone's missing, like that has to be a John Rahm reference, doesn't it?
well, I was wondering if he just wasn't there. It was around like Dubai, the filming. It must have been like
And
the
when he
year
spends a
end or
lot
the
more
start.
time in the States than some
Yeah,
of those guys do.
yeah.
So,
I mean, his official residence is like Scottsdale now,
yeah, yeah.
of all
Well, I
places.
mean, I think he stayed there after he went to university there. Um,
Yeah.
so for me, I like all three of those. I was just trying to look up their tee times here. In terms of a
I think
show, sorry.
you're leaning too heavily into the tea times. I think
Yeah, so
that's
I mean, I think that Hatton. I like Will Z, but I think Will Z will be chalky for his price. I think he's gone up to 8,100. Um, uh, I don't have a super strong feeling between the three, to be honest. Corey Connors is still a yay for me. I I have 4 of 20 with 6 of 6. Guess how many have Zalatoris on them?
three.
All four. So I am I'm heavy on Wilsey. I've got Connors on 2 of them. So I'm holding out hope. I think we heard someone say this earlier in the season, but the best ball strikers in the wind are the best ball strikers. So I do buy into that a bit, that if you know your yardages so accurately, you're going to be
Yeah.
that much better at knowing how accurate they're going to be in the wind.
Yeah.
But the
Yeah, I
thing
think
I would
that's
worry about a little bit with Corey Connors is around the green play. It's not his strong suit. It looks like he hopefully has fixed some of his putting issues. Um,
his scorecard is incredible. Like he has 14 holes where the score is exactly the same, and it's not even it doesn't even make sense. Like some are bogeys, some are birdies, some are pars. Like, but they almost look identical, except on 13 he had a double yesterday and he had an eagle today, so he had a 4-stroke difference on that one hole.
yeah.
I don't love Connor. I don't know
I
why.
don't love him as a
Um,
win player. I almost had Mackenzie
yeah,
Hughes as a pick today because I like
yeah.
that grindier type more in the wind, but that might just be a little bit of projection. PY, you just missed. We just had Doug Gim as a sleeper, so you
Yeah,
showed up a little late. You missed out on the Doug Gim sleeper play, but
it's great in wind.
okay. I think
Let's
we're
call it.
probably good there. Good luck tomorrow.
Join us in the Discord if you want to talk about golf. Otherwise, good luck tomorrow, and we'll see you same time, 9:30 p.m. Eastern for our round 4 showdown picks.
Lyndon, I do think Bryson makes another move tomorrow. I think that is where the weather worries me a little bit. With some of these guys trying to make moves, the Brysons, the Morikawas, the Xanders. That's where the weather worries me a bit. And Jimmy Howell, I still think Harman has some value at 7,600. The only problem to me is how popular of a play it's going to be.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I agree.
Okay, but on that note, good luck,
Yeah,
guys. We'll see you tomorrow at the same time.
yeah. See ya. Good luck.